board meeting to order. This morning we will have Mr. Oliver, could you give the invocation this morning?
I will.
And then we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here today and be with us today as we keep the best interest of the college, the students, and the faculty, and all that are here in mind. Please be with those who are protecting us abroad and are doing the things for us to keep us free today. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll move right along into the preliminary matters, Dr. Law.
Yes, we have 3 resolutions. Catherine Crum.
I don't know why I'm smiling, except that it's a good friend. Catherine A. Holmes Crumbs developed a passion for caring for the sick as a candy striper at Mercy Hospital at the age of 13 and has maintained this passion for nursing for more than 40 years. And whereas Ms. Crumbs enrolled in the Mirror Lake Practical Nursing Program in 1971 and began her association with St. Petersburg College as an associate degree nursing student in 1976, she later received her bachelor's and master's degree in nursing from the University of South Florida. And whereas Ms. Crumbs joined the nursing faculty at St. Petersburg College in 1990 and has served the college as an outstanding theory and clinical nursing instructor. In addition, she has spent countless hours tutoring and mentoring nursing students at the Pinellas County Urban League. And whereas Ms. Crumbs has received numerous awards throughout her career for outstanding contributions to the nursing profession and has been a valuable member of the College of Nursing family, now therefore be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognize and appreciate the outstanding contributions to the college and to the community by Catherine Crumbs and extend to her our best wishes for enjoyment throughout the years ahead. Said resolution being adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees this 21st day of May 2013. Hear, hear. Catherine and I had a chance to be together last year. She was one of our distinguished faculty. We made the trip to Austin, and what happens in Austin stays in Austin, right? Okay, good enough. Would you like to say a couple words?
Okay. Well, I got the mic. Good morning, everybody. And giving honor to God, who's first in my life and your life, too. I think this day was destined when I was born in 1947. Because they told my mother to take me home. If I live, I'll be healthy. So I never dreamt that I would be with so many distinguished persons. I want to thank Dr. Law because when I was in Austin, he could not have treated me any better if I was his wife or he was my son. He looked out for me. He made sure that I didn't fall. He made sure I didn't get lost. And that's, I found this, even when with Dr. Cutler. They are some good men. I never felt so welcome, so warm, and so appreciated, because I can read you from the floor up. It don't take me long, I'm not SOS, I'm not stuck on stupid, and I'm not POD, parked on dumb. Because I've been around, and because I came out of the project, you learn very well how to read people. And I am so grateful to this college for its open door policy, because if it wasn't for this college, I wouldn't be where I am. It took me almost 20 years to reach my goal, but I'd rather be 20 years with it than 20 years without it. I took one class at a time, and I want to thank this college for giving me the opportunity. I never thought that I would work here. I was just praying to get out of here with a C and a nursing license. So So I just want to thank y'all because this is the greatest thing about our country. You can start out with nothing. If you keep trying and trying, you have an opportunity to be anything that you think you could be. I want to thank you all again for giving me the opportunity to go to college here. Thank God for the open door policy, the land grant college, the philosophy of St. Petersburg College. Each one reach one, each one teach one, each one love one. The power of one is great. Please keep this college like the founders started, open to people who like me. Now you call it learning disability. I was called just plain dumb. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. God bless all of y'all.
I'd like to ask Jen Long to come forward. Jen Long began her career at St. Petersburg College in 1989 as senior secretary in the institutional testing office at St. Petersburg Gibbs campus. And whereas Ms. Long reached a career goal when she was appointed an academic advisor and a charter staff member on the Seminole campus, later she became the college's cyber advisor, working with distance and online students. She developed many processes and procedures still in use by cyber advisors today. And whereas Ms. Long has been praised by students for efficiency and helplessness, one student wrote, "I don't think I would have made it this far without the help of Ms. Long. She's a treasure." Another student wrote, "Without Ms. Long's assistance, I would have been lost. She's an asset to SPC." And whereas Ms. Long transferred to the Enrollment Management Call Center in 2011 to continue her fine work as an advisor to students, and whereas Ms. Long is a talented artist who has displayed some of her work in art shows on the Seminole campus, and whereas Ms. Long has always given her best to this college and its students, we wish her health and happiness as she begins this new chapter of her life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognize and appreciate the outstanding contributions to the college and the community by Jan Long and extend to her our best wishes for enjoyment throughout the years ahead. This resolution adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees this 21st day of May 2013. Hear, hear. Congratulations. Would you like to say it? Please.
Making speeches is not my forte, so I'll keep this short. Thank you for the opportunity to serve the college and the students for almost 24 years. It has been an honor, and it has been a pleasure, and it's been a ton of fun. Thank you.
And finally this morning, we have Kathy Tancredi. How are you this morning?
Wonderful.
I knew there was a bunch of folks here. I was going to say, what color colors? That's good. You don't have to go inside. Kathy Tancredi began her career as a temporary employee in the purchasing department at St. Petersburg College in 1989, and a full-time employee as a clerical assistant in 1990. And whereas Ms. Tancredi was promoted to senior accounting clerk and financial assistance in 1991, since then she has received numerous promotions and most recently served as a senior administrative services specialist in corporate training. And whereas Ms. Tancredi is dedicated and compassionate and goes out of her way to help when needed, she implemented the Certified Financial Planner Certification Program and St. Petersburg College's approval as a pre-licensing and continuing education provider for the Internal Revenue Service, Department of Business and Professional Regulations, United States Green Building Council, Florida Department of Finance, and other governing entities. Whereas Ms. Tancredi is passionate about environmental issues and animal welfare and is an active volunteer for Thoroughbred Rescue of Tampa, the National Resource Defense Council, Defenders of Wildlife, and the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life. She is a talented artist and plans to continue her artwork and screenwriting. And whereas Ms. Tancredi is kind and gentle spirit, and we wish her happiness as she spends time with her family, her beloved pets, and as she follows her dream to be more involved in the care of horses, now therefore be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognize and appreciate the outstanding contributions to the college and the community by Kathy Tancredi and extend to her our best wishes for enjoyment through the years ahead. This resolution being adopted and approved this 21st day of May 2013. Hear, hear. Congratulations. And if you'd like to say a couple words, please.
All I have to say is I'm thankful for the many opportunities during my almost 25 years at the college, and also the wonderful, wonderful friendships that I've made during those years as well. And thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Congratulations. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I have a special presentation this morning. I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce Maria Thurber, who is joined here today by her parents, Monica and James Thurber. Maria, would you and your parents come forward and join me here? You're right here. Hope you could see it. Thanks for being here today. Maria is one of our recent grads, but she is the award winner for the Gates Millennium Scholarship, one of only 1,000 students to receive this award. The scholarship pays her education costs through her PhD studies. Maria is a 17-year-old dual, we're not allowed to give people's ages. That's a very bad practice, I think, if you're... Maria is a student, a dual enrollment student here at St. Petersburg Gibbs campus. She'll be moving with her parents to Washington, D.C., where she will attend Catholic University of America to pursue dual bachelor's degrees in education and political science with a focus on international relations. Earlier this year, she was named a 2013 Coca-Cola New Century Bronze Scholar and received a $1,000 scholarship from the Coca-Cola Scholars Foundation. Maria is a friend of mine. She's been hugely helpful in our work with students, and we wish you well and congratulate you on this outstanding achievement. I have a couple of... Maria, that you get, I'm going to break the protocol. You get those. Okay? And Dad, you get to smile broadly. Okay? All right? We are very proud of Maria. We have had many, many honors with students who have been before this board. The Coca-Cola Scholars, it's not unknown to us at St. Petersburg College. We've never had a Gates Millennial Scholar in our midst, and I expect Maria is going to do great things in her life. So we're very proud of you, Maria. Okay, congratulations for everything. We'll make a pic. Let's have the board come in a little bit. Maria, would you like to say just a few words? Please.
Well, hello everyone, good morning. I can only try to express my gratitude to this college. I have had some of the most amazing experiences, and just literally, I don't want to cry, but every door that could possibly, doors that I didn't even think that would open for me have opened. thanks to this college and thanks to the well-rounded education that I have received, the opportunities with the extracurricular activities, I know, with things that I never thought I could join, like Phi Theta Kappa, the Honors College, student government, I have been just shaped to be a good, well, I try to be a good person. I just want to thank Dr. Law for always encouraging me and my mom and dad. I cannot drive. I have a back condition, and my mom has always made sure that I get on class on time. And I just want to thank my mom and my dad. And of course, the college and everyone here, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, as soon as the sniffling subsides.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to adopt the retirement resolutions as presented.
It's been properly moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We will move on. I'm going to go around. Mr. Oliver, do you have any comments this morning?
Just briefly, first of all, congratulations to the recognition candidates this morning for retirement. You've certainly earned the right, and certainly my wish is that you have a happy retirement. I think, Maria, for you, I remember seeing you at graduation with all the hardware and things. And I think for you, I don't think you recognize yet what doors are yet to open for you. And you're being afforded, I think, a huge opportunity, and my wish is certainly that you take advantage of every opportunity going forward. And certainly congratulations to you and your family for this.
Mr. Fine?
No.
Mr. Brett?
I would certainly like to echo Mr. Oliver's comments. I was thinking, as your daughter was honoring you, both of your folks, I was thinking about what a wonderful Mother's Day you must have just recently had, and what a great Father's Day you're going to have. Right in the middle of this incredible honor for your beautiful daughter. It's just really, really fantastic. So many, many congratulations to you. It's going to be fun reading about Maria in the coming years, for sure. The only other comments I would like to just mention is I'd like to thank Dr. Vittido and his great staff for hosting us today. I've said this before, I know it's not an easy task to put on one of these meetings, and I know a lot of folks have worked hard to put this together this morning, and it certainly is appreciated by all of us, I know. And then finally, many thanks to the flawless graduation down at the Trop on the 4th of this month. From my perspective, and I'm sure the perspective of just about everybody there, it was absolutely perfect, a beautiful event, and I know that many, many, many hours of hard work by many people in this room and folks who aren't here today. So great graduation. Make us all proud. Thank you very much. That's it.
I'd like to start out by, saying we really appreciate everyone who's retiring this morning. All of the hard work and all the things you've done to help this college be successful. Thank you. So thank you for all of the many years of productivity and success. I'd like to also just point out that Ms. Crum, who retired, is amazing. I met her as a little kid with the Black Nurses Association, a lady by the name of Louise Marie Yop. Ms. Yop said she never would have thought that she would have been able to be a nurse. And here yet again, we have another person who has held on, been active in our community, done so much for so many people. and did not think they'd ever have that opportunity. So thank you to her. I know she's gone, but thank you to her for all the things that she has done. I'd also echo what Mr. Brett said to Dr. Vidito. This is a phenomenal facility. Dr. Law and I took a quick tour. I can assure you that if I'm ever in the Clearwater area and I want to take a break, I'm coming to the Commons out here. It's very nice. I want to know if I can rent it for a Super Bowl party. It is a very nice facility. Thank you for hosting us and all the folks that had a part in making sure this meeting could be a success. Also, finally, no, not finally, but I'd like to thank Dr. Law as well and Dr. Williams. The graduation went off without a hitch. It was a great graduation. And we also had some help from Mr. Lang in giving out the degrees, which is always nice. We have our former board member doing that in our council. And to Maria Thurber. Maria, there are not any words that can describe how successful you are going to be, and you're so humble. Keep that spirit about you. And to your parents, you have great parents, and you should honor them, and they pushed you and helped you to be successful. You are exactly why we sit here, Dr. Law and all the rest of the staff, as well as the board of trustees. We want every student to be as successful as you, but you are a bright star. We look to see many great things from you in the future, and believe me, we'll be watching. So thank you for choosing St. Petersburg College, but also thank you for representing us well as well. So thank you. So we'll move right along, Mr. President. You have any comments?
One other brief announcement. I try to just share some good news. Jackie Scrit is here today, but this week we got news that our Florida Trade, the manufacturing grant that we are the leader on, was selected to join a higher level consortium for national impact, the Transformative Change Initiative, funded by our friends at Gates, Lumina, and Joyce Foundations. Wow. By joining this elite group of institutions, we'll be accelerating our opportunity for scaling the program institutionally, statewide, and nationally. So that Department of Labor grant is getting the kind of recognition we would hope. Jackie, thanks for your leadership on that. Gary Graham may not be here, but he's done a great job with that as well. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for right now.
Thank you, Jackie. He would work that. Dr. Law went after you pretty hard, so you worked it. Thanks.
She's
do I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. All signify saying aye. Aye. None opposing. We're moving to the monthly reports. Mr. Lang?
I have no report today, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Gardner?
Mr. Chair, I do not have a report.
Okay. And we're all down to Dr. Carney. Welcome, Dr. Carney.
Thank you very much.
It's
Dr.
shorter
Carney has
drive
a
for you
report.
today, right?
Say again?
Shorter drive for you today, right?
Oh, yes, it has been. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Law, friends and colleagues in the audience. This morning I want to provide an update for you on the accreditation of the Lipa-Ratner Museum of Art. And in particular, I want to share with you where we are now in that process. I'd like to share with you 2 follow-up request items from the accrediting body. And I'd like to share with you the next steps. And then I'd like to close by sharing with you why this accreditation is so important for the going forward strategies for the Lipa-Ratner Museum. As you can see there on the steps, we are now at step 4. The site visit is coming up in June, and I'll talk more about that. But I'd like to start at step 2, where we submitted a very comprehensive study of all the operations, art collections, procedures, standards, etc., back in July 2012. And Mr. Brett, as chair of the board, signed off on that study, so he has some background in it and some familiarization with this entire process. And so after more than 3 years working on this project, I can say this morning, Mr. Chair and board, that we are ever so close to achieving this important goal. Now, the self-study was followed in October by a review checklist. And that checklist contained about 22 items, most of which were routine, asking for additional information on various aspects. but there were two that were significant. In fact, there were one that was a mandatory change in order to achieve accreditation. And that's the one that's dealing with the discontinuance of the capitalization of our art collection. We reached out to our independent auditor, Gregory Sharon Stewart, and got their opinion on that. They replied to us in writing that we had three options, one of which was to, in fact, discontinue the accreditation, the capitalization of our art collection. Now, that's the art collection that's been given directly to the museum, in addition to the Gulf Coast collection that was transferred from the foundation to the museum. The larger collection, the original contribution to the museum, to the college, is still owned by the foundation. That is the Abraham Ratner and Alan Leeper collection. That's the largest collection. So what you're seeing there is the $1.2 million write-down is a smaller portion of our art collection that has been given directly to the museum in the last 10 years. So we're in the process of restating our financials for 2012 and 2013 to reflect that discontinuance of capitalization. Those financials, audited financials, will come to this board in the September timeframe, so you will be aware of that. You see down below the next steps in the process. We do have a site visit. We've been working with the site visiting team for about a month to get the itinerary. I'll share that with you. After the site visit is completed, the team will have 6 to 8 weeks to write a report. That report will go to the accrediting body commission at their fall meeting, and then that will be in October, and then in November we expect to get a final decision. Let me share with you quickly the itinerary for the meeting. I just want to highlight, this is for the site visit. Item 2, the visiting team will be meeting with Dr. Law, and I've reached out to Mr. Brett, and he has graciously agreed to speak with the team on behalf of this board. We will be briefing Mr. Brett on Thursday of this week and what to expect in that meeting with the accrediting team. As you can see, they will also be meeting with faculty groups and with student groups, and we have a strong story to tell there. In the past 2 years, we've had more than 3,000 students visit the museum. We've had a number of faculty members either bring their classes to the museum or to send their students to the museum for assignments. So we have a great story to tell in both those areas. Last but not least, the team will be visiting with Ms. Frances New at the foundation, and we have a great story to tell about the growing relationship and partnership between the museum and the foundation in terms of fundraising. Mr. Chairman, let me close by sharing with you why this accreditation is so important to the museum and the going forward strategies for the museum. First and foremost, this accreditation will put us into a very high echelon of accredited museums in this country. For academic art museums, there are over 840, almost 850. Less than 8% of those are accredited. In the state of Florida, the only art museums, academic art museums that are accredited are associated with the major universities. Based on our research, there are no Florida college system art museums that have been accredited, so we will be the first among the Florida college system to achieve accreditation. So it'll give us both national prestige, joining the small group, as well as state prestige as well. The second reason, and one of the reasons I've been working so hard on accreditation, is that we think that we can leverage this accreditation to continue to strengthen the financial position of the museum. And by that, I mean we'll get get access to higher caliber expositions through our relationships with other accredited museums. In addition to that, we will get a higher donor confidence, which translates into higher gifts, higher planned giving, and higher annual giving campaign. So that is the reason we're working so hard. We're very close. And that ends my report. I will be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, board members? Dr. Carney, you have some folks with you this morning?
Yes, we do have with us today the newly installed chair of the Leeper Ratner Museum of Arts, Mr. Bill Schumacher. Bill?
Welcome, Mr. Schumacher.
Yes, and we also have Ms. Ann Larson, who's the director of the museum. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Dean Baker.
Oops. Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Members of the board, Dr. Law, and colleagues. I'd like to spend my time this morning highlighting our most recent accomplishments in the College of Nursing. In the associate degree program this past spring, we had 212 graduates, one of our largest classes in more than 5 years. 50 to 60% of these graduates will go on to our RN to BSN program. Also, I'm happy to report that our first quarter 2013 NCLEX State Board pass rate was 95.3%. This was well above the state average of 85% and the national average of 90.4%. The faculty and I believe that this large graduating class and high pass rate is, at least in part, a reflection of the increased out-of-class support offered to students through the structured individual and small group tutoring that was initiated last fall. This student support is occurring at every level in the ADM program, but the graduating students receive very intensive support from the level 4 faculty. In the BSN program, we also had record-breaking numbers. This past spring, there were 161 graduates, which was our largest graduating class to date. As many of you know, in 2010, the Institute of Medicine recommended that 80% of the nurses in the United States be at least minimally prepared at the baccalaureate level by 2020. This groundbreaking report, in which St. Petersburg College was mentioned as an exemplar, moved many of colleges of nurses into action toward that end. Here at SPC, the College of Nursing is also actively doing its part toward accomplishing that goal. To date, we've graduated a total of 2,199 students from the RN to BSN program. Also, we continue to partner and collaborate with several healthcare agencies in the Tampa Bay area to assist their associate degree nurses with transitioning to the BSN. We're very proud of the work we've done, and we plan to share our success with the community when we celebrate 10 years of nursing excellence in the RN to BSN program here at St. Petersburg College. We will host an open house on May 31st at the Health Education Center. We plan to display student work during that time and conduct a simulated patient event to showcase our students in action to the community. And we'd love it if you join us. Are there any questions for me?
I have one.
Sure.
Dr. Baker, thank you for two. Thank you for such a great report. I mean, this is phenomenal. This is what we talk about. This is it. I mean, we're doing it in this program. NCLX, for those folks who don't know, what does that mean?
It's the National RN Licensure Exam that all students must take in order to practice nursing.
Okay. And then I know that we have some cohorts that we've been setting up for folks to transition from their regular courses into the nursing program.
From the associate degree to the BSN.
Yes, ma'am. How is that going?
Very well. We are working with Baycare. Baycare is our largest group that we are collaborating with and partnering with. But we've also reached out to Bayfront Medical Center, and we've reached out to Bay Pines VA, who are very interested in transitioning their associate degree students, nurses, to our program in the RN to BSN.
I hate to say this, but I was in the hospital, and every nurse that came in, I asked them where they went to college. I know my mother got tired of me asking them, but I still asked. And every one of them, except for one, went through St. Petersburg College. Someone went through Gabriel or
Galen.
Yeah, Galen or something, but he wasn't as good as ours. But all the rest of them were great, and they were, and they all had great things to say about the program. And
thank you.
I always asked them who was their favorite instructor, and so we got into a good conversation. But we're doing a great job, and every nurse that I see, just about we have produced. And Dr. Law, that says a lot about this program and what you're doing.
Great team.
Dr. Baker, you guys are doing a great job, because I remember when we started the program, the University of Florida told us, told the state, told Governor Bush, give us $500,000, we'll study it. And and Dr. Cutler did go back and say, no, give us the $500,000, we'll start producing some nurses. And we have definitely done that. So kudos to you and your staff in the program, and Dr. Nicotera, Dr. Nicotera, wherever he is there, you guys are doing a good job. Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Who's next up? Let me see. I guess it's Phoenix. I'm sorry. I got an icon here in front of my
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Ms. Phoenix.
How are you today?
Good.
I'm here today to give you an update on the spring training initiative that we've begun with the career service employees. What we did is we started our phase 1 of our annual 24 units of career service development training for the career service staff on March 1 with a wrap-up date of May 31st, 2013. So what I'm here to do today is to report to you the numbers that we have so far. And what we have determined is that to date, which we just have a short time left, is that 87% of the career service employees have participated in some level of professional development and career service training, which equates to approximately 630 employees of the 700 and some odd career service staff employees that we have here at the college have participated in at least one course of professional development in the last 2 months. We have 49% completed the entire 6 recommended units of professional development that we recommended in the last March 1 to March 31st phase, which equates to 352 employees of the 700 employees that we have, so which is roughly half. So that equates out to 2,925 course completions, 4,689 training hours completed by our career service staff in a 2-month period. And that pretty much says a lot for a kickoff phase for the career service employees. Now, what we have decided what we're going to be doing from there, that was just what we consider the phase 1 of the kickoff of the program. So as the initiative wraps up on May 31st, we're going to move into an evaluation and revision period through June, in which we'll be sending out surveys to individuals in the career service category. We'll get group input from leadership, career service employees themselves, and supervisory staff. And then on July 1, we'll begin phase 2, which will expand the training opportunities and move us towards an additional 18 units, which will run through June 31st, 2014 to complete the 24 units of annual professional development. Starting on July 1, 2014, employees will have a complete 12-month cycle to complete those units moving forward, and that way we figure we'll be on a fiscal scale where employees will have an annual 12-month cycle to do their 24 units of professional development. The idea is that we'll expand the training opportunities to include budget workshops, employee relation workshops, multi-level advisor training, some multi-level supervisor training, and give pathways for gaining credit for outside activities and training that we haven't currently offered in the initial phase. And that way as the program grows, we'll be able to be more inclusive in the types of things that we can include for the professional development opportunities. So today, that was just the update that I wanted to give you and let you know that we're on track to develop this program and give everybody an opportunity to develop and grow within the college.
Board members?
Any questions? All right, well, thank you all very much.
Ms. Phoenix, thank you. It looks
All right.
like we're well on our way. You're doing a
We
great
certainly
job.
are. Thank
and
you.
this is, thank you for advocating for this. Thank
Absolutely.
You. Appreciate it. We're down to old business. Dr. Law, would you like to go first, or?
Yeah, I will. As you know, this has been a very difficult issue to resolve. We continue to work closely with our legal counsel, so it's running on 2 tracks now. One is the prior process, which is being contested by an unsuccessful vendor. With the guidance of our attorneys, this board has abandoned that earlier search and has revised with greater specificity some of the key criteria. Today, you're being asked to do 2 things. One is to confirm the request for qualifications that you had seen previously, but I think a formal board vote will be helpful for us should we need that going forward. And secondly, to absolutely confirm that the decision-making process resides in the process adopted by this board, but it resides in the persons of Mr. Oliver and myself as the evaluators whose recommendation will be presented to this board. Those two items, I think, underpin the confusion and difficulties that we found ourselves in, and our proposal is to make sure there's no misunderstanding as we go forward.
Sure. And let me add this. I have had a conversation with Dr. Law, and he assures me that this is the right path to go based upon our legal counsel from Bryant, Miller, and Olive. So we're trying to move this process forward. Now, no one can predict what will happen in the future. I assume, and I'm sure Dr. Law does too, that this would not be the end of it. For every step we take, we assume that they will take another step. We don't know what those steps will be, but we absolutely have to move forward with the process. We made some commitments to Midtown and some folks, and we need to move forward. And our commitment is to continue to move forward as we said we would. Any board members have any comments or anything? If not, I ask for a motion to approve.
Move approval.
I hear a second.
Second.
All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We have dealt with that issue. New business. Student success and achievement information item.
Much better new business, I might add.
Much better. Much better.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Chair, Dr. Law, Board of Directors, and esteemed colleagues. About a year ago, maybe a little longer than that, you challenged us to improve the success rates of our students and to make sure that we get them across the stage in the best possible condition. And we lodged out an intense effort to do that. And so today we are going to share with you our report card of how our students succeeded during the spring 2013 term. In front of you, you have what we call the course success rates, and it's basically the number or the percentage of students who earned a grade of A, B, or C in the courses that they took during the spring term. Overall, when you look at year over year from 11, 12 to 13, you'll see that we moved the needle just a tiny bit from all of our 33 or so thousand students from this year. What you have in front of you shows a comparison of the spring term from 12 to 2013, and it breaks it out by campus. And you can see that we're overall on the positive end of that, and that growth is occurring. There's some work we'll have to do with our electronic campus and Epicenter. And when you look at the open campus, those are our dual enrolled students who are taking courses at the high schools. Their throughput is huge. I mean, 91.5% success rate. And so you'll see some fluctuation in that. I don't know how much better we can do than the 95, 96%. But overall, we're still moving in the right direction. This shows some very similar data from spring for the last 6 terms to show that the overall success rate for all of our college students moved just a tad bit, but the success rate for our students who are first time in college moved significantly. Our students who are first time in college are the students who receive the majority of the college experience input and involvement that we did this year, which is the out-of-class support, the learning plan, the early alert, the developmental advising, etc., and the new student orientation. So you see the success there is about 6% for the first time in college. Now this is where it gets interesting. We start disaggregating the data, we start dumpster diving, so to speak, and looking more deeply into the data as to what's been going on. Overall, you'll see the difference in the success rate for first time in college to be 6.5%. But as we go down and we look at gender, our men did a little bit better this semester than our women. and our African American and Hispanic did significantly better. So I think that the college experience is definitely having an impact, especially on these populations. And this is basically the same data showing you the growth over the last 6 terms. And as you can see, we're continuing to move in the right direction. Our African American group has grown, but it is still lagging significantly behind the other groups. So there's more work that must be done there. Now this is very interesting. These are our male students. As you know, we have been focusing on increasing the success rate of our male students. These are, again, our first time in college students who more than likely attended orientation, and they were part of the learning plan and other things, etc. And you see the significant success rate increase in those numbers. We were very pleased about the growth here, and most of these students received the college experience. And this is the same data over the last 6 terms to show you how the growth has moved and where we're headed, and which is definitely in the right direction. Developmental course success rates. As you know, the majority of our first time in college students are enrolled in developmental courses. This again shows an increase in the success rate of students enrolled in our developmental courses, 7.2% for all of our first time in college students, slightly higher for the men. And when you go down and look at African American students, as well as male students, they exceeded, as well as Hispanic males. We still have some work to do, but we're headed in the right direction. You have a question? Okay. These are the number of students or students who are enrolled in our gateway courses. These are our college level courses that have high enrollment. And as you can see, the success rate in our first time in college student again continues to grow in the right direction. These are definitely noteworthy gains. This slide shows the same information, but by courses. When you look at all of our students, by all of their courses, developmental and gateway, the needle continues to move forward, continues to grow in just about all of the areas. We have a little bit of work to do in some of the developmental courses there, but it continues to improve. So what are the noteworthy observations from the success rates from the spring term? First, we did improve. We did move the needle as a college, even for those students who are not first time in college. We also noticed significant change in growth at the St. Pete campus in downtown Midtown. Those campuses are highly enrolling African American students, and others where a lot of the gain was. You see the increase for our African American and Hispanic students in their first time in college success rates, as well as the African American and Hispanic males continue to grow. And our minority students and minority males continue to improve. And we want to think that a lot of it has to do with the interaction, early engagement, intervention, communication that help our students grow. They need to be communicated and interacted with. And that's a large piece to the college experience, the extra tutoring that we're providing, the intense tutoring, early alert, and some of the other new initiatives that we've started.
Mr. Britt, you have any questions?
Dr. Law sends us emails from time to time. Some of the news is good, some of the news is marginal. And but when I got this email, I think he put in the tagline something like really, really good news.
Okay.
And then last week when we met individually, we talked in a little more detail about this. And I want to say first off, congratulations to you and to all of the provosts. Dr. Law said that the credit falls on all of your shoulders. This is astonishing. Have you ever, in your career, seen the needle move to the extent that it has in some of these categories with regard to ethnicity, and especially with the males?
No.
I mean, it's striking when you're talking about 16% in some categories.
No, I have not. This is the first time. We don't know if this will ever happen in this way again, but but we're going to continue to strive to get those numbers up and keep students in school. But this is new to me.
Well, it's almost an understatement when this topic falls under the category of student success and achievement. This is just like, congratulations. I mean, I know you all have worked incredibly hard on this, and it's so rewarding, I'm sure to you and certainly to us, to see the results paying off with the learning plans and the 5x180 and all of the extra things you're throwing at this. It's remarkable, and I'm just so proud of all of you, and this is what it's about. So thank you. It's
Thank
great.
you.
Any other comments?
I would reiterate, this is our mission. And it's the best news or best email we all received in the last month or so. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Again, ditto from this side. I think being, still kind of the new person here, in my mind, this is kind of what the mission of the college is all about. You look at where we're located, you look at, some of the higher risk areas where the students have typically kind of once and done. What I hope is that this kind of sets the tone for these first timers, that they continue to be successful, moving forward, that we continue to focus on these type programs. And I think overall, you'll begin to see the numbers and the needle, continue to move. But again, this was some of the good news that Dr. Law, sent. We have kind of an early warning system too, and it's Dr. Law sending us notes, and this was one of the good notes that we got. And again, congratulations to those involved, and this is really the kind of thing that you want to see, and it makes you feel good about what you do. So,
thank you.
I just want to reiterate everything that everybody else has said, but one thing in particular, Dr. Law, thank you for staying the course with the staff. When you came in, you said we need to focus on the student. And I think we've finally gotten to a point where students believe that. And that's important, that the people that go to school here believe that we're focused on making them successful, and I think they believe that. One thing I would ask, that I'm going to ask Dr. Williams, is that I remember Mr. Brett and I were intimately involved in a campaign to help schools, the elementary schools, be successful. And Terry, I don't know if you remember when we had to go back and re-engineer how we got one school to an A school. One thing that I would ask is that we survey the students if we're not. Let's survey them and see what has been most helpful to them being successful going forward. If we're not doing that, if we
Tanya,
are...
don't let me steal your thunder, but I think we have a collaborative lab scheduled with
good.
these students in the next week or two. Okay.
Good. And the other thing is, if there's some way for us to document
Right.
that of what has worked, because we want to continue to do this, and especially with these first time in college young people or young adults, because I know Dr. Law, you and Dr. Williams, along with the other staff, you all should be commended on such a great job. But I remember we were talking about bringing everyone in for a real face-to-face orientation, and I would assume that helped in some way, shape, or form. If we could actually make sure that we survey them, number one. Number two, let's write it down so we know what has been successful.
Thank you. I agree, and we are surveying our students a semester after they've had the orientation to find out, was it worth it, what was missing, what we need to do better, because the orientation it's really a huge start off. It's a huge kicker. So we are surveying them to find out the quality and the meaningfulness, what did it help them going forward, to make sure we have the right pieces in there.
And, I don't want to get bogged down in this particular point, but also the instructors. What do they see as successful? Are we doing that to make sure? What do they see in the process that we can change? What was helpful to them?
That's a good one.
What
We'll have to do
information
that.
was helpful to them in terms of the students that they had in their courses? Did someone have a learning disability? Did they have all the information that they needed for that?
That's a
Are there
good
other extenuating circumstances that they needed to know about a particular student? What was helpful for them to be successful to reach the young people? And does our system work? When they send people to the learning lab, to Mr. Leopold, what's that system like? Is it easy? Is it hard? So that there is a seamless approach all the way through. And I'm not saying you're not doing it, I'm just asking.
Right.
If that's not the case, let's figure out what that seamless approach is so that that student can get all the help they want. Because I hear Dr. Law saying to me all the time that we want to get them wherever. Exactly this morning, we're talking about counseling and other things out here in the commons area. Whatever we need to make sure that these folks are successful, let's figure out, let's make a plan on how to do that.
Okay.
If we're not. I would not leave the instructors out because at the end of the day, they're responsible for reaching these folks.
Right.
So
You're absolutely right. We have not surveyed the faculty in the way that you've suggested. However, I've had a chance to meet with FGO, and I asked them what would they want to know about their students on the first day of class, and they did give me the list of information that they would need to know, but we can go back and also find out what was the result when they referred a student somewhere, how easy was it, do they have all the other info from the student standpoint.
And I don't want to add another job to their job, but I do want them to be, I guess the best way to describe it is if you can get both sides to buy in, you can meet somewhere in the middle.
Right.
And if they have what they need, I think they'll be better instructors and be
Exactly.
willing to help us more to get these young people that are struggling, who are struggling or not struggling, into programs and where they need to be.
I don't want to leave that incomplete. We had 175 faculty members who committed weekly office hours
Oh, yeah.
in the learning centers.
I remember that, yeah.
So I think that's a huge, 3,000
That's right.
hours is what they committed over the semester. So that's how the needle moves,
Yep.
is that piece matters. And then they reach out to and everything else. So the faculty have been very strongly supportive of
Sure.
this, and nothing succeeds like success. I suspect that 175 will go up.
There's no way we would have been successful without faculty.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's no way. I mean,
All right,
so thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
You said last month you were going to give us some really cool stuff.
This was the cool stuff.
This is cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Where are we at? Oh, item B. It's just information. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to
Go
say,
ahead, Mr. Brett.
move approval for B, C, D, E, and F.
It's been properly moved.
Second.
Second, all signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well, then we're down to item G. Is that it, right, Mr. Brett?
Yes, sir.
It's the human resources. Do we have a report, or are we just going to go ahead? I know we have to make an action on the personnel report.
Yeah, if you would take that action, and I want to just
Okay.
update us on the Affordable
Do
Care
I
Act.
hear a
if you
motion
would.
for item G?
So moved. Second.
G1.
G1?
G1A, rather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Change that, Mr. Oliver, to G1A.
G1A.
It's
So
reflected.
moved. Second.
Second, all signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing, we're taking up the, Dr. Law.
Sir, we have in front of you a brief statement regarding our efforts on the Affordable Care Act. It is a work in progress. We, like many other organizations, we're learning as we go. But let me tell you what the framework is that we're working around and the structures. The break point for whether or not an employee must be offered health care is 30 hours. If you work less than 30 hours a week, you can, the college does not have, the employer does not have to offer health care. We have no special considerations there. And then 30 or above, you must be you must be offered the health care. For adjunct instructors, it's a very, that we still do not have final guidance as to how to calculate the hours worked for an adjunct instructor. We know that the time spent in class is not the totality of what somebody does in that work. Now the plot thickens. What's the multiplier outside of class? Is it 2 hours of preparation for every hour in class? Is it 3 hours of preparation for every hour in class? Is it 1 hour for every hour in class? And that's not written down anywhere. It's not known. So early on, to be very conservative, the early guidance, I was surprised to see the 3-2-1, which meant that for every credit hour of instruction, you had to commit 4 clock hours, right? The hour in class and 3 additional hours. Well, if it's a 3-credit class, that's a total of 12 hours a week, times 2 is 24 hours a week. If you go to 3, you're above the 30. So early on, we said, we don't know what the guidance is going to be, but we know we're not going to do that. So in the schedule, put 2 courses, leave 1 TBA. If we get better guidance, we hope people can get 3. That's the right number, by the way. So we're still working on that. We still have, the last guidance was January 2nd. The last written guidance was January 2nd. Very conservative approach on my part. That's a stylistic matter. I would rather have more news that's better for somebody than to say, I know you were planning to teach 3 courses, now we have to drop you to 2, and doing that in August seemed to me to be unfair to the employee. In the interim time, we've used our good offices through Brown & Brown Insurance, our consultants, and they made some inquiries in Washington. And then when I was out on the West Coast at the national meeting, I talked to the chief lobbyist for AACC to see what we could learn. And it appears that an emergent middle ground is coming where you talk about 75% of a normal faculty member's load. That gives us a lot more flexibility in how we calculate what an adjunct instructor can do at the maximum levels. It would allow for us to put 3 3-credit courses. It's much closer to 2 hours outside of class for every hour inside of class. That's rule of thumb for the general courses. Vice President Duncan and Vice President Cooper have now worked with their staff. We've analyzed all of this semester. We have a tool that we've developed that lets us take every form of instruction. So if you teach a 4-week course, of course it's much more time in those 4 weeks rather than a 16-week course, right? So here's where it's headed. The start date of the semester and the end date of the semester tells you how many weeks are involved. It'll be 16 point something. It'll be right under 17. You multiply that times 29. That's the maximum number of hours you can work from the start date to the end date. And we now have a tool that says no matter how we load your course, we can then determine your total hours within that period. We think that will stand IRS scrutiny. It gives the faculty member the best chance of getting the fullest load, gives us the best chance of being straightforward and allowed to do it on a planning basis. I think that tool is ready to share. I looked at it this week, and I think we're, if not ready to go, we're good to go. Having said that, that solves a whole range of problems. Now, there were some people who were teaching more than that in the past, and quite frankly, we can't get around that. We're not prepared to bring people on to insurance if they're adjunct instructors. The only piece that's still outstanding, and we're doing a little more work, is in the health-related areas. Some of our adjuncts teach clinical settings where the weekly hours is quite high. And we're trying to determine, does that fit in the start date, end date? Do they still fit in within that? And we're doing some very precise calculations as to how much time a person does it. Last thing, it's the most frustrating thing that I've ever been involved in. It doesn't matter how my feelings are, but we know that individuals need health insurance, and we expect that the state is going to provide for that. I mean, that dialogue is taking place away from us. We simply are not in a position to expand greatly what we're already doing in that regard. For other non-teaching people, OPS is, you can buy that in 1-hour units. I mean, we have people who had been working above 30 hours, but they will be dropped down to 29 hours to move those. So we're closing in on the final decisions here. It would be nice if, do I even want to say, if the IRS would give us guidance. But that's really what we're waiting on, is any final guidance as to how we would do that calculation.
Any questions, board members? Dr. Law, very quickly.
Yes, sir.
2 quick questions. One is, have we looked into, some of these adjuncts have other jobs. Have we looked into being able to waive, they could waive the right to have this health insurance and teach more courses?
In fact, that is the most frustrating thing. If they work for us, we have to offer it to them. They may already be benefit. They could have a spouse, they could be covered on spouse's insurance. And some will have come to me and say, I don't need your insurance, I'm okay. I just like to, we must, the IRS, the guidance is, if they work, we have to offer it to them. They have to be on.
What about the more they teach a certain course, wouldn't the hours decrease because of less preparation, or no? Or you just have to keep it a standard amount of hours?
I think I might make that case. I'm trying to figure out what case I'm going to make to the IRS at some future date, and I think you really better have a standard lookup.
Sure.
Literally what we did is we took every course in every variation we offer it and said, what are the weekly hours associated with that? And I think if we start parsing out, except if it's the second course in someone's load or the third course in someone's load.
No, I mean...
I know what you're saying.
Okay, all right.
The preparation for three courses of the same thing is...
That you've taught for 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know.
I'm nervous about having that dialogue going forward. I'm trying to get us settled down for starters, and then we'll get... The universities are apoplectic about this. They have no chance of figuring this out. So we're going to let them...
Screw it up first.
Yeah, they go first.
They will do that, trust me. They've proven that.
I want you to know we've spent a great deal of time in this. It's not some people's lives are being disrupted, and it doesn't feel good.
It's almost a shame that they can't waive. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. If they choose to waive it, I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, sir. Where are we at here? I'm sorry, G. So we've taken up G1A. And we did it. Oh, we're down to the finance report.
And the budget.
Okay, real quick, I narrowed this chart down a little bit so you could get a better view of it. One of the nice things about getting more lottery money than general revenue is that we get it in bigger chunks at the end of the year. So you can see a little uptick in the revenue for April. And right now we're looking pretty good. Let me show you on the detail. Our lottery revenue is up $2 million year over year. So that helps us out as we go into the final 3 months of the year. Our spending is down. We're managing to control that. I expect that although right now you can see our surplus is about $10.5 million, that between the declining tuition that we get between now and the end of the year, we will get primarily just general revenue and lottery payments between now and the end of June. So that $10 million will get very close to zero by the end of June. So I think we're on target. I think we're in good shape. Questions?
Any questions, board members?
No. Okay. Move into the budget.
Budget.
I have some help this morning from Dr. Cooper, Dr. Williams. Okay, a quick look back, and you're going to see in the financial end of this really reflecting Dr. Williams' report in how it has impacted students. You know, for the last 3 years, as we've gone through our budget process, that we've considered the theme and kept with the theme investing in student success. We've also, the second really major theme has been greater college-wide participation, transparency. Anybody can see every detail of every budget now, and more strengthened planning, and it's gone a long way to help this process. The biggest impact you'll see, and Laura's passing out a sort of a high-level summary of what we're going to go through. But where you really see it impacting is in the reallocation of resources. And over the last 3-year budgets, you can see that administrative costs, administrative budgets have declined approximately 20%. And those resources have been realigned into student support and academic support areas. And as I remember when Dr. Law first came, he said, you got to put your money where your priorities are. And we've done that. We've done a good job of doing that. And you're seeing it reflected in what we're doing. The other part of our strength in planning, of course, is the budget workshop in December, where you set the strategic priorities. while all of these priorities have strategic objectives, you'll see as we go through the process, not all required new funding. We're going to do something a little more comprehensive this year by going through the all of the fund sources into approximately a $250 million budget when you consider all the fund sources. Our general operating is about $148 million. Our restricted fund student activities, we're going to highlight that's a little over $5 million. Our auxiliary budget, which has an impact on our general operating budget, is about $3.5 million. And then I want to talk about the scholarship fund, which is very large, about $63 million, and then capital outlay specifically. So we'll go through each one of those fairly quickly. On the general operating side, I want to just highlight what's happened since we last met. First of all, I think when we last met, we said that our projected revenue was somewhere between what was on the table between the House and the Senate. What came out at the end was about $750,000 less than you saw in that projection. So we had to tighten our belts a little bit and go back and look for that elsewhere. Two positive things, very positive things that came out is $1.6 million in non-recurring funding. For $615,000 of that is for improvements to the orthotics and prosthetics program, which Dr. Cooper will talk about in just a minute. And then $1 million, which is a continuation of the MLK Day of Service project that was started last year. One a little unexpected was we got a little higher in the area of repair and renovation, about $2.4 million, which will help us much with our deferred maintenance, which right now is a big, between roofs and infrastructure replacement, that's going to help us a great deal. So just to go back, you'll see the $2.24 million there on the revenue side. It reflects the decreased amount that I showed you last month. And then where you see the numbers in blue are areas that we went back and revisited in order to, we had to recoup that half, three-quarters of a million in order to continue to fund those things that we showed you last month. So in April, we were at about $4.4 million. We actually had to find close to $5 million of available funding through either new funding or reallocation. But I think we're in good shape, and we've got a pretty strong budget, all things considered. Just a couple of points on where we have reallocated some personnel. We did have a director of design and construction that basically that position we told you about earlier was eliminated, and that those funds were reallocated into academic and student services areas. We had a project coordinator. We had two of those that went into veterans support. Another energy and maintenance services position was eliminated and reallocated. And then we had 7 other positions that were reallocated into retention service support, which Dr. Williams will also elaborate on in just a minute. Our two areas in tuition, we are not requesting any base tuition increase. The two areas are the second year of the legislatively authorized capital improvement fee increase. That's a $2 increase, and again, used primarily for repair, renovation, and major equipment that we'll elaborate on in a minute as well. The second is another big part of the student success agenda, and that is a learning support access fee of $2 per credit hour. And we outline at the bottom there specifically allocated and must be reported to the state in the areas of orientation, early learning plans, out-of-class support, and so on. This just reflects what those rates will be. You can see the total on the resident goes from 105 to 107 with the capital improvement fee increase, and then the access fee is at the bottom. And then the upper division are reflected on the right side. Dr. Cooper is going to talk about our...
One of the most important parts of an effective academic program is to provide our students with a schedule that gives them access to the classes that they need to complete their programs. So we have provided our students with what we call a guaranteed schedule. What that means is they can plan ahead, they can register early, and they can count on that class taking place at that time and at the location that we have scheduled it for. There are no cancellations, so they don't have to worry about if a class got canceled, then they'd have to change their childcare, their transportation, their work hours. And so we provide them with that opportunity. Our deans have done an excellent job in looking at the enrollment trends in providing a schedule that meets students' needs in regards to the different types of instructional modalities, as well as on the locations or campuses. We also have planned in the coming year for a flat enrollment, so you can see our enrollment capacity is about equal to what we had this year. But one of the things that we've also done so that we can manage the process strategically is that we want to be able to hold 5% of that enrollment in reserve, so that if there are various shifts in regards to instructional modalities, we might have more students who choose online, or there are shifts in particular program needs, we can meet those needs. And so we feel we have provided our students with a strategic schedule that gives them the classes and meets their needs.
Okay, so with that, we had approximately $5 million in funding available. Last month I mentioned that we had a built-in retirement increase of $1.36 million. Actually, when we got the final numbers, turned out to be a little bit higher as well. And we propose $2.5 million of that for a 2.5% salary increase with a minimum of $1,000. We were also requesting as part of this that on the hourly employee paychecks, since it is split between the current fiscal year and the new fiscal year starting July 1, that we would include the increase in that entire check, and that's been funded and included in the budget amount. So that left us with approximately $1.1 million for other strategic funding, and Dr. Williams will start with that.
So how are we going to address the needs of the college going forward? First, we're going to spend a little over $500,000 on student success, basically enhancing the college experience, offering more tutorial support, providing students with more leadership assistance. We have in this plan the initiatives regarding the veterans programs, et cetera. And so we'll be working hard to further our initial initiative to improve the student success for our students here at St. Petersburg College. So if you look at the whole top half, both of those are basically focusing on student success and things that we need to do to further that mission.
In our academic programs, we want to ensure that we continue to investigate other baccalaureate opportunities, so we have allocated some funds to allow us to begin that process again. We also want to ensure that we are addressing needs in the workforce programs, particularly in STEM areas where there is additional equipment needed, in programs like our environmental science, possibly adding the equipment that would allow us to expand into biotechnology in our biology baccalaureate program. We have had a lot of growth organically in distance education. We are still a leader in the state of Florida. And we want to be sure, though, that we are still on the cutting edge. So we want to take some time now to step back and to assess where we are, where we want to go, so that we can stay on that cutting edge and keep up with our competitors, because many more are moving into distance education. And then with the new legislation in developmental education, we know that there will be additional needs for staff and professional development, curriculum development, and additional training and out-of-class support. One of the things that we're very proud of is the expanding of our employee development and support, as you heard from the Career Services Council, what they are doing and the success that they are having. We've also found that our faculty development program has been very successful. Faculty are given $1,500 to spend over a 2-year period in whatever professional development fits with their particular needs with their dean, and we want to add to that now a faculty sabbatical opportunity, and so we have added the funds to allow us to build that into the program as well.
The balance really is just spread out among the other areas of the college family. You simply cannot make the kind of culture shift that we've made by diverting resources, starting new programs with the student success agenda, and not really focus very intently on training and retraining of people. And so we continue these resources, about $500,000 to just college-wide staff development, about $150,000 to other academic, administrative, professional development. These are mostly conferences, off-site conferences, things of that nature, and then curriculum development, which you want to talk about that.
Obviously, that's very important in making sure that our curriculum is keeping up with the needs of our programs and that we are refreshing that. We are not becoming static. And so we continue to develop new programs as well as refresh what we currently have.
Okay.
We're very excited about the new opportunity to create what we call a comprehensive innovation center in our orthotics and prosthetic program. What this will allow for is an increase in the number of practitioners. It will provide continuing education for those who are already in the field, and we are very excited about the new professional certifications that we will be able to offer. These will be available to those who want to enter the field as well as those who are in the field and want to gain additional certifications within the industry. They will articulate into a AS degree program that we will also be adding, and so we feel that this will make us a statewide national leader in the area of orthotics and prosthetics, and we're very excited about these opportunities.
Okay, so with that remaining $1.1 million, a little more than half of it went into student support to enhancing the college experience, a little under $400,000 into instructional program improvements. That pretty much represents that shift I showed you on the first slide. About another $80,000, which is a new faculty sabbatical program. One thing I want to highlight that is very important, this is not new funding, but it is, we are within this budget able to continue the $2.1 million commitment that we've made to making sure that our campuses and our academic areas in terms of both their minor equipment and their technology refresh program is kept current and up to date. And this is recurring funding. You've heard me say this before, but this slide basically represents the distribution between minor equipment. These are typically things that cost less than $1,000, and then the technology refresh amounts that have been allocated to the sites. And I think everyone's done a really good job in administering that program. I want to talk just a minute about Fund 3, which is our auxiliary fund. And it's important because it represents about a $3 million contribution of the revenue that is represented in our general operating budget. And within that auxiliary budget, I've given you the breakdown of the revenue. These are just additional revenue sources that we have. We receive about $1.8 million, and really they're bookstore commissions, but really the bookstore contract does not require any lease payments. So we give them the space, and basically this represents what they would otherwise be paying in lease if we structured it that way. About $500,000 we received for the textbook credit contribution that was newly added to our contract, and that goes directly back to the students. We have some residual financial aid funds from a number of years ago that we are using to support the student success programs. And then you can see from there down, I won't go through each one of them, but various royalties and pay-for-print sales and so on. We also get some money from our tower leases to Verizon. Of this money then, about $3 million of it is transferred directly into the general operating budget. And within that money that is transferred over, about $900,000 of it goes directly into textbook credits that we've continued now for several years. About $300,000 of it goes into hiring student assistants and college-wide. About a little over $100,000 into senior citizen waivers. About $1.5 million into just general academic and institutional program support. There's a wide range of areas that support those programs college-wide. A small amount, there's another small fund for provost discretionary expense for campus kinds of programs and activities that are needed. And then related to that, about another $70,000 in community relations expense. These are things that we typically don't want to use general operating dollars, either tuition or state dollars for. So these would be on-campus activities and so on. So we try to use that $3 million wisely, but it is a big part of our general operating budget. On the Fund 7, which is our capital outlay, let me give you the highlights on that. Next year we have about $38.5 million of available funding. Now, of that funding, only $7.2 million of it is actually recurring capital improvement fees. Out of that $7.2 million, $2.6 of it goes directly into construction bond payments. Those were, in fact, this building was built with bond, and so we're paying that back through the capital improvement fee. About $4.7 million are just miscellaneous non-recurring projects, mostly deferred maintenance, what I alluded to, and that is roof repairs and replacements and so on. We're also doing campus lighting, parking lots, that sort of thing. $1.2 million goes to campus discretionary projects for major equipment and renovation remodeling. I'll show you a breakdown of that in just a minute, talk a little bit more about it. And 3.1 additional dollars goes into general maintenance and infrastructure. The biggest chunk of this is the $22.7 million, which is non-recurring, which is we've set aside that money for the Midtown and the Clearwater Library. So that leaves us with about a $4 million balance. We always want to have some extra dollars set aside in the capital budget because you never know what will break or need repairing that's unanticipated, so we don't want to get caught off guard there. This chart represents another very important part of supporting the campuses. Each campus has a fund for general renovation or remodeling. Something breaks, some carpet needs to be replaced, so on. It's for smaller kinds of projects. But this year we added a major equipment component to it, and this is the funding that you see there in the red. The total is about $1.2 million. But this is for the campuses, for those larger types of equipment that exceed or $1,000 or up. A lot of academic, instructional, lab-related equipment on the sites, and so we want to get that built into our refresh program so they're not having to come back every year and wonder if the labs are going to be functional next year because there's a lot of things broken. So we think this is the last major step in making sure that we've got all of our infrastructure into a recurring funded program. Next is student activities. Dr. Williams.
All right. Student activities funds are restricted funds, and every time a student pays a credit hour, there are student activity fees associated with that credit hour. Those student activity fees must be used for the benefit of students. We can't buy staff computers or college van, well, maybe the van, I don't know. But we have to do something with students. So this year, we're projecting $5.1 million of funding. $1.3 million of those dollars will go directly to SGA. And one of the things that I really like that we're doing, I didn't think I would like at the beginning, but I've grown to love it a lot, is that our students really manage the $1.3 million. They decide on events to be offered on campus. They put together a process where clubs can vie for those funds, and they are the administrators of those funds. We are just the pass-through folks who help them get the idea completed or the event accomplished. So $1.3 million or 25% of the overall budget belongs directly to the students. $1.3 million is spent on athletics for the year, and $2.25 million are spent on campus-based positions, support services, individuals, tutoring, and other things to help students succeed. And we will have a $250,000 contingency budget for any mishaps or things that may occur throughout the year. And that's the student activities budget.
Okay, next is our scholarship fund. And it's a very large fund, about $63 million, but you'll see that about $53 million of that just goes directly into Pell and grant awards for financial aid support. A smaller portion, the $2.7 million of the financial aid fee, goes into scholarship and awards that run through our financial aid operation. And about $6.3 million is state of Florida scholarship awards. And the last piece goes through our foundation. Our foundation awards around $1 million in foundation and other scholarship awards. So all of this goes directly to support students. That's sort of the high-level view of our budget. What we intend to do as we go through next year is, of course, we bring you the general operating updates monthly, but take maybe quarterly opportunities to give you updates on the student activities and the auxiliary, as well as the scholarship fund and capital outlays. Sort of break those out into two bigger pieces. That's our high-level view. You've got the brochure. We've also got the detail. I think you have detail sheets on the budget. And although we're asking you to approve the budget this month, between now and the next board meeting, we will have all the detail loaded, and should you really want to drill down and look at anything particular, we can have that for you next month and go to whatever level of detail in the budget you'd like to look at.
Dr. Law?
Thank you. Very nice presentation. I'm very, very proud of this budget. From the board standpoint, this is another point of growth for our organization. I don't believe the board has ever been asked to see all the budget. You're generally requested, in fact, you're required by law to adopt the operating budget, the Fund 1. I wanted you to see all of the budget components that we use to manage the enterprise, because you're all clever enough to figure out it's not all in Fund 1. So you see us as we artfully use the auxiliary fund, as we artfully use the capital improvement fund, as we put it all together. That's our job, to weave it into a comprehensive whole that makes the most sense. I do want the board to grow in its insight and sophistication in the use of those other funds, the auxiliary fund and other kinds of things. I mean, that's part of the college thing. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, I will tell you I'm incredibly proud of this budget. I think we have kept faith with all of our public officials. All of the pay raise, all of the realignment, everything else was done by internal allocation of the budget. But I owe it to you and to the college to make a recommendation. You saw the success we're having with the student success. So we adopted a proposal for you that says, give us a few bucks in the student access piece, and it's pledged directly to those services that are having the most impact. I don't want to have to back up on any of that work whatsoever. And then secondly, the increase in the deferred maintenance. We're the oldest college in the system. We're glad to get $2.4 million from the legislature to do some things. It's a drop in the bucket for our needs. So getting an ongoing commitment to repair and renovation. It's not the fun part of what we do. It's not the sexiest part. They're not going to put anybody's name on the new roof and we're dedicated or anything else. But it's our job to make sure the learning environment is qualitative and move forward. So I think that we have been incredibly responsive. I think our students can see exactly what they're getting for the fees and associated charges. And I think it will keep us moving forward on all fronts. Happy to have your questions. I'm very pleased with the work that's come together here.
Any questions?
Seems to be well put together, well thought out to me.
Great job.
I think procedurally, Mr. Chairman, we'll take, we don't need a vote on this today, do we? I think we typically leave it for a month so that
if we have any questions.
Yeah, there may be some last minute thing from the state or something like that, but this is what you will vote on next month. In fact, we don't even have to have a presentation next month unless you want it. So,
okay.
Thank you for your support. It has been very helpful to have your guidance.
So you don't want to do item B where we take it up because it says it needs an action?
I'm happy to do that.
It's up to you. We can do it next month.
If we're okay, then let's go ahead and make the motion. When you got the votes, shut up and vote.
Well, that plus, we always make the motion that if we need to change something next month, you can bring it back.
Thanks.
Do I hear a motion to do that?
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
Second by Mr. Fine. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We're on to item H, which is an information item for baccalaureate programs.
Who's doing this? Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
In the interest of time, I know we've had a lot of presentations this morning. Duan and I are going to cover two specific presentations that relate to the baccalaureate programs, provide some information to the board. We're going to try to be as brief as possible, but feel free to ask questions as we go along, or we'll also have time for questions at the end. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Duan Fox, our baccalaureate liaison, to talk to us a little bit about a new baccalaureate approval process that we're going to have here at the institution.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, board members, Dr. Law. For more than 10 years now, St. Petersburg College has been a lead institution in offering baccalaureate degrees. Currently, right now, we offer 22 baccalaureate degree programs, serving over 5,800 students, which is comparable to some of our universities and smaller colleges within our serving district. Back in March, Dr. Law invited all interested college family members to a collaborative lab event where we outlined a strategic plan and timelines for pursuing new baccalaureate degree programs. At that time, we created an outline and a template for what we entitled an internal proposal. Some of those internal proposal components, as you can see here on the screen, the first two are key. We wanted to make sure that any proposal that came forward would have career opportunities for Pinellas County residents and make sure that they fit SPC's current mission, which is workforce-oriented baccalaureate degree programs. As you can see, we also went and wanted to know if this program was distinctive. If there were any other universities or college in our local area that were offering those programs, how will we be different in offering a new baccalaureate program? Potential partnership, which is key. Are we having new partnerships with our local school districts or business industry? Would that take a part in this new program? Dr. Law also wanted the board to see this list that we're going to provide of what programs actually make it through our committee approval process. We're going to create a rubric for the programs and going to rank each one of those programs in between now and fall of this year. Those programs would then go through a committee process and to Dr. Law to get approved, and that list will be discussed at your strategic planning meeting in December. At that point, after your feedback and input, we would take those proposals and we would initiate what the external process for the state. The state requires us to submit a full state proposal as well as a letter of intent that they send out to different universities and colleges for their input on a proposal that we might want to pursue. We hope to have that intent submitted in the spring of 2014 and a full proposal brought back to the board back in November of 2014 for your approval to move forward to submit that to the state. Our anticipated notice back from the state is in January or February of 2015. We hope to have state approval to implement our new programs in the fall of 2015.
Okay.
Are there any questions about that process?
Two important pieces. It'll come past you in two forms. You see it before it gets too far down, but you see it in a proposal form, so it's not just good ideas, and if you have anything to add. And then secondly, we have to work on the funding. This institution was very fortunate. It was first out of the gate and got its own funding for its own programs early on, and it's paid huge dividends. You saw that today. That's not the process any longer, so you have to be very aggressive to get in line at the state level to move that forward, and we're moving forward appropriately. I will tell you, I had hoped to bring this forward a year ago. The pay raise subsumed what we might use for new programs, okay? And I'm happy to do that, but we need to catch up next year. So you will see it on a couple of occasions, and we're happy to have your guidance on what those look like.
No questions? Thank you very much. Great job.
Good.
$10,000 degree challenge, Dr. Law.
10K degree.
Uh-oh.
So we just want to talk a little bit about what we're doing, how we're moving forward on it. Our hope really is to start this fall. We'll have students enrolled in our new 10K program. Laura's actually handing out, these are invitations that are going to go to our potential first cohort of students, so I want everybody to have a chance to see that. But if you remember, the governor of the state challenged all the colleges and said, I'd like you to be able to put a degree together for $10,000. We have a degree that we normally charge about $13,000, $14,000 for that we're going to fit within the governor's challenge. And his challenge basically was, and we were the first to accept it at St. Petersburg College. In fact, he came here to our campus to announce the challenge. But it was $10,000 for tuition and fees. So textbooks is really the only thing that's excluded from the model. We're still work under a 2+2 design. The student's not going to come here and sign up for a 4-year baccalaureate program. It's still going to be lower division and upper division. You see on the screen there the choices that students will have to take. But ultimately, those choices will lead to them receiving a 4-year degree in technology development management. The way the pricing structure will work is they'll pay normal tuition fees up till that $10,000 ceiling. So when they enter into the baccalaureate program, there's been recent legislative changes that allow us to open up waivers for students. And when they reach that ceiling of $10,000, then tuition's waived from that point forward until they finish the degree. But the important aspect is the eligibility requirements and the concept of the degree in general. The state has put forth they want students to have some of their credits accomplished initially coming into the program, because how are we able to afford to do a degree for $10,000? So the state has said that they want 12 to 15 accelerated credits initially from these students. And we're focusing specifically on new high school students coming out. And within that, we're looking for accelerated credits in the form of AP, dual enrollment, CLEP, IB programs, initial college credit the student's going to walk in the door with. We're also going to set some expectations, and we believe these expectations will be better for the students in terms of success, and on the same thing, allow St. Petersburg College to reduce cost. So we're going to ask that they come full-time. It's a full-time program. They can move quicker through the program. We're also going to make it cohort-based, and that's good for student success. They're all going to take similar discipline-specific courses together. That's going to improve their opportunity for success. We're going to ask that they're continuously enrolled. You know, this isn't a fall-spring program. We take the summers off. You know, this is straight through. We want to get them to graduate as quickly as possible with this degree. And we're going to ask that they complete every course with a C or better. You know, we don't, where it gets expensive for colleges and expensive for students when we look at the ability to complete on time is going to be when they're taking classes and having to withdraw or getting lower grades and repeating. So for this program, we're going to set that expectation on the front end. They have to get the C or better and continuously move through it. The other thing we're very important, and as DeJuan mentioned, our baccalaureate degrees are workforce focused. There's a strong emphasis on workforce. We want our students to graduate and get jobs. And within this program, we're going to emphasize that through internships that they'll take every year as they go through the program, in addition to work experience opportunities, so that they'll have the ability to go and spend hours in industry. We're going to partner with industry and even find ways to partner with them in some of our courses, including our capstone course. And that's going to help us reduce cost, and it's going to be a better experience for our students. They're also going to walk out with a portfolio, and we're going to build on that portfolio for day one. So it's not a portfolio they're going to show a potential employer that says, oh, I did this in class or I did that in class. It's going to be a portfolio that says, I went and did an internship. Look what I did for an employer. I spent hours out in workforce for my workforce hours for my class. Look what I did for that employer. So they have something substantial that they're able to walk away with as they graduate from the program. Our initial fall cohort is going to be small. We're going to start small and do this right. We also have some limitations on the students we can bring in based on the requirements of the state. So we've identified at this point 271 eligible students that are finishing high school this year. We have set up an information and registration session that's going to be in June. We'll bring those students in. You'll notice from the invite, we tell them right away, you've already been approved. You've been accepted. We'll get them in. We'll continue that process to build our cohort, and then we'll fill in that cohort with other numbers we may potentially need for identifying existing students that meet our eligibility requirements. We're going to also get them started right on day one. So actually, they've entered the program. We're going to do a special orientation before the fall term ends. And we're going to work very closely on an advising standpoint on these students as they move through the process. For next year's cohort, we're going to start on the front end and try to build from there. Because of these unique eligibility requirements, a lot of these students we have to identify before they've come to St. Petersburg College. So we're going to work with Jeff Sesta and Catherine Kennedy in the school district to really identify those students on the front end to make sure as soon as they graduate next year, you know, they're already entering the program. Any questions I can answer.
So you've already invited these 271 students,
We've just finished the invitations, so they'll probably be invited this afternoon.
and you have room for between 30 and 60.
Well, we're planning on 30 to 60. We could do more.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your
We're
max?
hoping that 270.
Could you do all of them, if every one of them wanted to come?
Yes, sir.
Our concern isn't so much on the ceiling end of it, it's getting enough for the initial cohort. I mean, if 200 of these students said yes, we might figure out a way to make
You could
that
do
work, or we may have to, have spring or whatever. But we could bring these students in some capacity, yes.
I saw, and I wanted to say congratulations too, I saw that you have a grant application for MOOC.
Yes.
Is that going to be incorporated into this at all?
Well, we think a big place for the MOOC is going to be with the recent changes, and I know Dr. Cruz will speak to that in a few minutes, about the Senate Bill 1720. And I think there's a big aspect where the MOOC is going to help us with that. But we're very excited. We put in a $300,000 grant for the state. There's some other colleges, some well-known names. Brevard has submitted, Valencia has submitted, but we think we have a real good opportunity, and we're very excited about it.
Excellent. Great. Well, this is exciting. Very nice.
All right. Thank you.
Great job.
Good morning again. I'd like to share some information about the new legislation on developmental education. First of all, to understand the intent of this new legislation, the idea behind it is to customize how we present our students or deliver the developmental education that improves their success rates and also moves them more quickly into their college coursework. So we are redefining developmental education. It has to come in a format that is accelerated. In other words, it gets the students through the process more quickly. Modularized means that it is broken up into those competencies, and the student only deals with those competencies in which they have difficulty, and then they move on. It can be contextualized, which means that we might provide students, say, in a developmental reading class, with a topic area if they're interested in STEM, biological science, and use that particular textbook as the reading material in the class. Or it can be compressed coursework. It might be that we put students in a course that deals with the reading and the writing simultaneously, again with the idea of improving their success and accelerating them through the process of developmental education. Some of the options of choice then when students come to us in need of developmental education is that they have to be advised of those choices, and then they have to be allowed to choose what they prefer to do. Co-requisite courses might be one of those choices, and this is where a student would enroll in a credit level course as well as the developmental course simultaneously in hopes of their being successful. We might also have required tutoring for students in developmental courses that are compressed, so they're more likely to succeed by providing them with required supplemental instruction. If they are in a gateway course, they could have extended time. So again, we might add an additional opportunity of developmental, with some additional supplemental instruction for those students so that they're more likely to be successful. The free online courses, the MOOCs, we're continuing to develop those. We already have the one in math. We're going to continue to develop one in reading as well as in writing, whether we get the grant or not, because we know this is very important. And then the modularized courses, which are, of course, based on a diagnostic assessment of student skills, and then providing the students with those modules that they need additional help in. One of the other challenges, though, associated with this particular legislation is that it's going to provide for two student groups the possibility of an exemption. And these are students who either graduated from high school from 2007 in the state of Florida onward, or they enrolled in our public schools in 2003, 2004, and have earned a standard high school diploma, or active duty members of the United States Armed Services. These particular groups of students will have the choice of either not participating in testing and developmental education, or they may choose to participate. It will be their choice. The timeline associated with the legislation is that the State Board of Education in October will, of course, pass the rule to establish the testing and developmental education exemption, and it is likely that the exemption will become active in January of 2014. Then the state board will also establish what we call meta-majors. A meta-major is essentially an academic pathway, and that's based on, say, for example, we have a number of different health programs. So students who are interested in health programs, we know there are basic courses that they need to take from the beginning so that they will be prepared to then enter into that particular major, whether it's nursing, radiology, orthotics and prosthetics, etc. And so the meta-major is to set those pathways from the beginning so students are taking the correct classes to achieve their program goals. In March of 2014, we are to submit our developmental educational plan to the Chancellor and then implement it in the fall of 2014. There will also be an accountability report that will be submitted the following year to the Chancellor, and the Chancellor will be required to submit those to the Governor as well as the President of the Senate and Speaker of the House and the State Board of Education. So along with the changes, there's the process of accountability. We feel currently at St. Petersburg College we are ahead of the game, so to speak, because we have begun already to build modularized courses in all 3 areas of developmental education. That's my Bridge to Success program. We already have the Math MOOC in place, and we're going to build ones in writing and reading as well. There's been an immense focus on the learning support centers and supplemental instruction, additional tutoring, students within courses that they were successful in that course previously, helping other students. We also have, this fall, we're going to pilot some co-requisite courses in composition. We also have some self-paced math remediation available to students for $99 through our corporate training. And we have implemented a developmental education council that is beginning to look at where we go from here with a collaborative lab scheduled on June the 4th. And some of our needs will, of course, be the pre-test orientation and advising of students, to make sure that they take, if they are taking the placement test, they take it seriously and they prepare for it. We also know that our advisors are going to have to be very astute to the particular cohort that a student fits in, whether they are in the group that can exempt versus those that cannot, and make sure that they provide each of the students with their choices in regards to developmental education or not. We also know that professional development is going to be very important in preparing our instructors. We have 34 full-time instructors and 102 part-time instructors that teach in the developmental areas. We want to make sure that we are certifying them so that we are providing our students with the opportunities to succeed in regards to how we present and deliver our developmental classes. We also know that we can add additional accelerated options to what we're currently doing, and that we need to build in success strategies to our gateway courses, because now some students will be moving directly into the gateway courses and, of course, passing through the developmental piece because of their choice to do so. Questions?
Any questions, board members?
No, not from me. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is really serious business. This is a fundamental change, goes almost to the heart of the mission of colleges like ours. Good people with different views of how to fix a long-standing problem in developmental education. We know that students come to us unprepared. On the other hand, we know that the throughput has been not at a level any of us are comfortable with. You saw numbers today that we're all feeling good about. Fundamental change. Everything we knew before has gone by the boards. We're having to reassess everything we do. Let me say, I think we have as many tools as any college I know. You saw all of the training that we've been able to do with our advisors and with our staff. We've got that in place. I see Dean Jimmy Chang and Dean Martha Campbell here, our math and our science and our communication deans. These are outstanding educators who have already worked to modularize and to move and to do things differently. But I will tell you, it's darn confusing. And I don't know about you, but I've raised two sons, and if you ask them, would you like, if they were 17 and you said, would you like to take the path of least resistance, they would have said, I'm already there, okay? And we need to be very careful we don't allow that for students. Students need help at the front door. This institution has always done a great job. I'm pretty nervous about all this. I'm glad we've got the team that we've got. I'm glad that we've got the budget that you adopted today. We'll keep you informed, but you'll hear about this. There will be a lot of public disclosure on this. Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing that.
No, thank you. Thank you, Doctor. We'll move to the public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing. Are there any speakers? None being, I'll close the public hearing. And we're down to the president's evaluation. We're going to defer this for a month, and please don't read into that. It is only because I have been traveling. I have not had the opportunity to finish the president's evaluation, along with some other folks have been ill and some other things. So we're going to defer it to the next month. And Dr. Law knows that we are committed to getting that accomplished. So we will take that up at our next meeting if the board members are okay with us deferring until next month. All right? The president's report. I think he already talked about the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, I only have one other item that I'd like to be sure I bring to everybody's attention. We are working, and I had mentioned with you our friends at LumaStream, and that's still a work in progress. I spoke with them as late as 3 o'clock yesterday. They will be they're working with the city. It's a two-phase plan. This is an ongoing manufacturing concern. They're going to have an interim facility at 22nd Street and First South, I think, is where it is. We will be part of that with them, doing the training and development with them, and they are still working with the city on a long-term position down at the, I think it's called Gas Plant Industrial Site, or Gas Plant Economic Development Site, and we're working with them on that. I will keep you informed, but we're going to invest a few bucks. We have to make some commitments if we're going to rent some space with these guys and stuff like that. But I think we live for these opportunities, the chance to bring real jobs and real job training to the neediest community. It's a good thing for us. We're going to have to move quickly in the next couple of weeks, and I just want to give the board a heads up that we're in top of that. Okay. Thank you.
Future agenda items, do we have any from the board members? Public speaking forum, do we have any speakers? No. If not, our next meeting date is June 18th at the Epicenter. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
And the meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.